Welcome to Turn 1, a Formula One podcast. Now entering the grid. Here are your hosts, Thomas and Jeremiah.
Let's talk about something fun.
Always love it.
We're going to go back to some hot takes.
A little bit different than last time. Episode 1, I think we did hot takes.
Yeah.
In this one, instead of just presenting the outright hot take, I think we're going to go a little more scenario and then which side do we fall on. And I don't know if we will fall differently or the same on these. We'll find out.
All right, I'm going to pop this one off. So, at what point does George Russell beat Max Verstappen this year?
Oh, man.
And I'm not talking about championship points. I mean like an actual race.
Right, a race. Did he win the British Grand Prix last year?
No.
What race did he win?
I believe it was one of the last ones. He won Brazil.
Okay. Okay. I think George will win multiple races in 2023.
But we're not talking about wins.
I know. I think he will win multiple, so he's got a couple of chances. I think within the first 6 races, he will have a race win, meaning he will beat Max Verstappen.
I think he beats Max Verstappen in the third race of the season.
What is the third race of the
season? The Australian Grand Prix. So last year, if you looked at his stats, he went 4th in the first one, Bahrain, 5th in the next one, and then 3rd in the Australian Grand Prix, which leads me to believe that he is pretty satisfied with that one in terms of his comfort level. I think that since he got 3rd last year at the Australian Grand Prix, that this year he's going to come in hot.
Yeah, because he didn't have the car figured out at that point,
not only
but he still was cooking.
Exactly. Not only that, Mercedes is bringing a better car.
I like that. I can see it. I don't think he will win that race, but I can see where you're coming from. I still think Max runs away with everything. Okay. This was I'll say a large topping point of 2022, and I think we'll see this highlighted in Drive to Survive when that releases. McLaren versus Alpine. Who finishes higher? Not drivers, the constructor.
I've actually given this some thought before you even wrote this down, so it's kind of funny that this made your list. I firmly believe McLaren takes Alpine this year.
Interesting.
I'll tell you why. Because for one, Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon is now what would you consider the veteran of that team, even though they've basically been in the sport for the same amount of time, kind of like the number 1 driver. I don't see that team getting much better. I'm sorry. Okay. I mean, I think we have a resurgence from Pierre Gasly where he does way better than he ever did in the AlphaTauri car. But I think McLaren takes it. And the reason why, maybe not in the beginning, maybe not while Oscar's getting his feet wet, but once he gets that car going, and Lando, who's already competitive with Alpines, I think that they win that.
I'm going to disagree strongly. I think Alpine smokes McLaren this year.
Wow.
I think McLaren falls back into a back of the pack team. Where they're with the Williams and Haas.
Oh, Jesus.
Here's my reasons why. They keep trying so hard to perfect this car that they have not figured out in 3 or 4 seasons now, and they're rolling out a rookie driver. I'm going to say that Oscar Piastri is going to be good. I don't think he's going to be a bad driver. I think they are going to struggle to figure everything out, and this is not going to be a competitive year for them.
Well, I think your idea is stupid. Thanks. What do you think of that?
All right, let's know.
No, it's a pretty good point. Well, that's actually going to be pretty fun to watch. I can't wait to see how that actually unfolds. My number 2, Lando or Oscar?
We're talking just points finish at the end of the year?
We'll go 2 ways with this. The first one, points finish at the end of the year. The second one, skill level matchup by the last race.
Okay. Lando is going to have more points than Oscar Piastri. But to your second point, I think Oscar will be competitive by the end of the year.
I was hoping that we wouldn't agree on that. I really was.
You know my stance on Lando. I think everybody does at this point. I think he's underperforming, but I still think he's going to be better than the rookie.
So I think that, to your point, yes, in the points, Lando's going to win just because he's already familiar with F1 in terms of how those cars feel when you're going into turns, the acceleration, the overtaking. He's had multiple years of experience. However, I think by the end of the year, I think Lando still outmatches Oscar. And the only reason why is because I don't think you give Lando enough credit. I genuinely think that we have not seen Lando paired up with a good rival since his first year where he was going against Carlos Sainz. How is that fair?
I know.
And he was still dogging it out with Carlos.
I think this time next year, we're talking about Oscar Piastri being the primary driver at McLaren. There's a future there.
We'll see how that plays out.
Okay, speaking of Oscar Piastri, which rookie finishes highest?
Okay, I know we're going to disagree on this one. And the reason why is because I'm going to go Nick DeVries.
Interesting.
And the only reason why is because experience. We have already seen him out there. We've already seen him get points. He's had one race and he's already got points.
I know. But he's in what car?
I get it. AlphaTauri.
He's in an AlphaTauri, which was not good at all last year, which is why, even based on my last conversation saying Oscar is going to struggle compared to Lando, Oscar will finish with more points than Nick DeVries.
But do you really think that Christian Horner, or I guess we'll go, can't say Helmut Marko because he's really more driver related. But do we really think that Red Bull is going to allow AlphaTauri to suck again?
Yes.
Whoa.
They did it in 1 year.
1 year.
And they lost Pierre Gasly. Their mainstay. I mean, that was the only thing really working for them was Pierre Gasly. Not to say Yuki's bad. He's got a long way to go. But I seriously think Oscar, even with a struggling McLaren year, like I mentioned in topic 1, I think he smokes.
Okay. Put him in the same car. At the end of the year, not at the beginning of the year. Let Oscar have a full year of development. Let Logan Sargent have a full year of
Oscar's
development.
Better. Dude, look at his feeder series record.
I understand.
He wins
First. Yes.
4, 3, and 2 in a row.
I understand.
Nick DeVries doesn't have that.
Nick DeVries has points in F1.
All right. What's next?
Carlos or Charles?
Just highest points finish?
We'll go both.
Okay.
Because I like that little thing we're doing there. Let's go points finish at the end of the year, and then we'll go skill level at the end of the year.
We're both big fans of Carlos Sainz, but I really like what I saw at the end of 2022 from Carlos, and I did not like what I saw at the end of 22 from Charles. It felt like Charles was on a heater the first 3 races of the season, at least the first 6, because he was still getting top 5 finishes in those first 6 races, and it just went away. And I know he was still up there, he was obviously still second in the championship, but I think this year Carlos could come out slinging and just be on fire the whole year. And I think Carlos could beat Charles flat out.
Okay, I'm going to take it a step further. What's their spread? Does Charles get, or does Carlos beat Charles by 2 positions in the driver standings? So is Carlos in second, and Charles in fourth, or is it
I think they're stacked.
Ooh, okay.
I think they're stacked. I think they're still pretty even. I think at the start of last year, you would have said, oh, Charles is on Max's level. Clearly he wasn't. Not yet, at least. No, he might. I think when you looked at the end of the season, Charles and Carlos were on the same page.
Here's my problem with that. I'm going to go Carlos too, but here's where I'm going to disagree with you a little bit.
You're going Carlos over Charles?
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
I love Carlos.
The safe pick there is Charles.
No.
All right.
Safe is boring.
Okay.
I'm going Carlos. Carlos had, like you said, not dominated, but
he won a race.
In comparison of him and Charles, at the end of the year, Carlos was way better. I'll take Carlos any day of the week as my number 1.
And he figured out how to tell his team no.
But Charles is a monster driver. He is not a monster strategist.
No.
And, maybe he had the right ideas for what the strategy could be because we kept hearing okay, do you want to box this lap? And he was like, no, but I'll do what the team thinks is necessary.
The Ferrari
and they're
master plan.
Box. But Charles is a dog.
He is. And again, he won two of the first 3 races last year, whatever, and it just Ferrari took him downhill. I think if Ferrari doesn't bog him down, he could be easily dominant.
I think if Charles doesn't let Ferrari bog him down, like
keeps telling him
Carlos
no.
does it.
Yeah.
Carlos says no. I understand you're a young driver. You're trying to set yourself up for success. You're on a team that's a front-running team. You want to respect them. But if they're wrong, they're wrong.
And you know on the track what's the right thing to do.
You know, if you've been doing this, if you have made this your life's passion, this is what you do. Some people
you wouldn't lose a spot to Fernando Alonso trying to get the fastest lap.
No, dude. Some people are electrical engineers. Some people build airplanes. But if you're a Formula One race car driver, you should be making the calls. And you know what the right ones are.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, was that your 3?
Yeah, that's my 3rd. Let's hear yours.
Last one. We've had all of the cars released for this year. And we'll do a segment, kind of ranking the current libraries. We did the all-time. But what was the best new livery for
Mercedes?
the year?
No ifs, ands, or buts. No second guessing. I don't even want to hear your opinion.
Is it just because it's black, though?
No. It's because it's just like the one from 2021 where they had like the fading effect.
Yeah, the little logos.
But now it's in that Mercedes green blue.
Yeah.
And it's sweet.
We've talked before about how we both like the Mercedes black, but I don't know if I consider that a new livery.
It is. Because before it was painted. Now it's just lack of paint. Now it's just letting the carbon fly.
Okay, I'm going to throw one at you that I don't know if you know I would pick. Obviously, a couple of teams had changes. Haas broke into the more black look.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Williams kind of looks the same, but I still love that Williams blue car. McLaren and Red Bull look identical to how they did before. I like the Alfa Romeo. They added a lot of black to the Alfa Romeo, and it looks sweet.
I did see that. I was a fan of that.
The whole side of the car is black.
I think they went as close to Ferrari as you can get without being Ferrari in terms of their livery.
Kinda. Check out this picture. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, so the black wing, the black on the bottom with the red skimmed on top, that's pretty sweet.
It's like if you took the Ferrari, added black, but then also made it shiny and not a matte finish.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It does look cool. But like I said, my only problem with it, too close to the Ferrari car. They might as well put a fat Ferrari logo on the side of it.
So now you're going to have the Mercedes and the Red Bull looking similar, the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo looking similar. The Haas plays in kind of with the AlphaTauri because they're both white and black.
The Haas car is so cool. Obviously,
it's all right.
I'm not going to lie. It was kind of a hard battle for me between Haas and Mercedes for what their car is going to look like this year. But at the end of the day, that Mercedes blue-green is going to win my heart every single time. However, when you're going from the may or may not be Russian flag Haas car
Definitely the Russian
to
flag.
a all-white Haas car to now having these black accents like they used to have back in the old days when they first got in, I think you're going to tell me
look. No,
you're going to tell me that doesn't look sweet.
It does. It's way better than the red, white, and blue that you're going. Which I love how Gunther was like, "What do you mean Russia? Could be America? Could be France." It's
clearly Russian
with the Russian sponsor all over the side.
Oh, Eurocali, and now they're with MoneyGram.
There we go. All right, so that wraps up episode 5 of Turn 1 of Formula One podcast. We hope that you enjoyed and got some information out of our F1 basic segments to open the show, and then maybe got a little bit of enjoyment out of our hot takes.
Yes, and guys, we want to reiterate, the race season is approaching. We are coming up to the first race of the season, and when that starts, you will be getting 2 episodes a week from us. One on Monday, which is the race recap for the whole weekend. It's not just going to be race related. We're going to talk a little bit into practice, a little bit into qualifying, or sprint race if it's that one of those weekends. And then every single Friday, you're going to get our usual weekly episode release.
Yep, and just to wrap us up, we love the support that we've gotten. We've got a lot of comments and feedback from people that have watched and listened to the podcast. If you can, we really appreciate any likes, subscribes, or comments. You can find us at Turn 1 Podcast on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. All of that feedback really helps us as we continue to grow this thing.
And guys, please stay tuned because we've got some big things coming.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.